Rain has a strange way of washing away illusions. For Amelia Bennett, it washed away an entire life. As she stood in the pouring rain wearing a ruined wedding dress, mascara running down her cheeks and bouquet forgotten somewhere behind her, she believed she had just lost everything. The cruelest part? She had spent her entire life sacrificing for everyone else. Yet when she finally chose herself, everyone abandoned her. It hadn't always been that way. When Amelia was 8 years old, there was one person in the world who made her feel important. His name was Logan Carter. Every afternoon after school, they met beneath a sprawling oak tree on the edge of a nearby park. While other children played tag or raced bicycles, Logan and Amelia built imaginary castles from fallen branches, searched for oddly shaped stones, and dreamed about the adults they would someday become. Neither child came from a particularly happy home. Amelia's parents adored her younger sister, Olivia. Olivia could do no wrong. If Olivia spilled juice across the kitchen floor, Amelia cleaned it. If Olivia forgot her homework, Amelia was blamed for not reminding her. If Olivia wanted dessert, Amelia gave up hers. By the time she was 10, Amelia was cooking dinner 3 nights a week, folding laundry, cleaning bathrooms, helping Olivia study despite consistently earning the highest grades in school, and making sure the house was spotless before their parents returned from work. Whenever relatives visited, they praised Olivia's beauty. What a lovely little princess. Then they'd glance toward Amelia carrying another tray of food. And she's such a helpful big sister. Helpful. Not talented, not brilliant, not beautiful. Just helpful. At home, Amelia felt less like a daughter and more like unpaid staff. Logan understood loneliness in a different way. He had been born only minutes after his identical twin brother, Lucas. Their parents never planned on having twins. Money became tight. Arguments became constant. When Logan was barely 3 years old, his parents divorced. Lucas remained with his parents while Logan was quietly sent away to live with his grandparents. No one asked what he wanted. No one fought to keep him. As a child, Logan believed he had simply been the son nobody wanted. His grandparents loved him fiercely and raised him with kindness, but every birthday, every Christmas, every school recital, he secretly wondered why his own parents never came. Perhaps that was why he understood Amelia so well. 2 forgotten children had somehow found each other. One warm summer evening, they sat beneath their favorite oak tree watching fireflies drift through the twilight. Logan nervously picked a dandelion growing beside him. Carefully twisting its stem into a ring, he smiled shyly. "I don't have a real ring." Amelia laughed. "I don't need a real one." He slipped the tiny flower onto her finger. "When we're grown up, will you marry me?" Without hesitation, Amelia held out her little finger. "I promise." Logan hooked his pinky around hers. "I promise too." The 2 children smiled as though they had just decided the rest of their lives. Have you ever made a promise as a child that stayed with you your entire life? A promise so innocent yet so sincere that no matter how many years passed, a part of your heart still belonged to it. If you have, let me know your story in the comments. I read every single one, and I'd love to hear it. And if you enjoy emotional romance stories with dramatic twists and happy endings, don't forget to like and subscribe. A week later, everything changed. Lucas became dangerously ill. His fever climbed so high that doctors feared permanent brain damage. Logan desperately wanted to visit his brother in the hospital, but their parents refused to let him. Soon after Lucas recovered, the family moved away. What neither brother knew was that the illness had stolen nearly all of Lucas's early childhood memories. He no longer remembered the little girl beneath the oak tree. He no longer remembered promises. He no longer remembered Logan. Not long afterward, Lucas's parents remarried, moved to another city, and completely severed contact with Logan and his grandparents. Both boys grew up believing they were only children. Amelia returned to the park every weekend for nearly 2 years before finally accepting that Logan wasn't coming back. Still. She kept the tiny dried flower ring inside a wooden jewelry box beside her bed. It became the only reminder that, once upon a time, Someone had chosen her first. 20 years passed. Amelia graduated at the top of her university class and became one of the city's youngest award-winning architects. She bought herself a small apartment, paid off her student loans, never asked her parents for anything. Even after all that, nothing changed. Whenever Olivia wanted a vacation, their parents called Amelia. "When are you sending your sister money?" When Olivia crashed her car, Amelia was expected to help replace it. When holidays came, Amelia cooked every meal while Olivia chatted with guests. Her parents never thanked her. They simply expected it. Then one evening, her father made an announcement over dinner. "You'll be getting married." Amelia looked up from her plate. "I'm sorry?" The Carter family proposed a business partnership. Her mother smiled. "Their son is handsome, successful, and comes from an excellent family. I'm not marrying someone I've never met. You'll meet him tomorrow." "And if I say no?" Her father's voice turned cold. "You've already taken enough from this family." Amelia blinked. Taken? She had spent her life giving them everything. Still, to avoid another argument, she agreed to one dinner. When the restaurant doors opened, her entire world froze. Standing from the table was a man with familiar blue eyes, dark hair, the same smile she'd dreamed about for 20 years. It was Logan, or so she believed. Tears instantly filled her eyes. "Oh, you came back." The man looked confused. "I'm sorry." "Have we met?" Her heart sank. He didn't remember, but something about her seemed to comfort him. Conversation flowed easily. He laughed at jokes he couldn't possibly remember hearing before. He admitted he often felt as though pieces of his childhood were missing. Amelia quietly accepted it. If he had forgotten, then they would simply make new memories together. Over the next year, they fell in love, or at least, she believed they had. When he proposed beneath another enormous oak tree, Amelia smiled through tears. Maybe life had finally rewarded her patience. Maybe forgotten promises could still become beautiful futures. Then came the wedding day. White roses lined the aisle. The chapel shimmered beneath crystal chandeliers. Guests filled every pew. Amelia waited in the bridal suite while Olivia insisted she would check on the groom. 10 minutes passed, then 15. An uneasy feeling settled in Amelia's chest. She quietly walked down the hallway toward the groom's dressing room. The door wasn't completely closed. She heard laughter. Then, a kiss. She pushed the door open. There stood her fiancé, his arms wrapped around Olivia, his lips pressed against hers. Olivia giggled. "I can't believe she's actually going through with this." He smiled back. "It'll all be over soon." The bridal bouquet slipped from Amelia's hands. White roses scattered across the polished floor. Both of them turned. Silence filled the room. Olivia rolled her eyes. "Well, I guess she knows." Amelia waited for someone to apologize, to explain. Instead, her parents rushed into the room. Her mother walked straight past Amelia, straight to Olivia. "Are you all right, sweetheart?" Sweetheart. Not once did she look at the daughter standing there in a wedding dress. Amelia stared in disbelief. "Dad, you saw them." Her father sighed as though she were the one causing trouble. "Enough." "Olivia didn't mean for this to happen." Amelia laughed bitterly. "She kissed my fiancé." Her mother folded her arms. "You've always been so dramatic. Think about your sister. She's in love." Amelia couldn't believe what she was hearing. "What about me?" Neither parent answered. Instead, her father said the words that shattered whatever remained of her heart. "You've always been the responsible one. You can endure this. Endure it. Just like every birthday she sacrificed. Every dream she postponed. Every meal she cooked. Every insult she swallowed. Even now, they expected her to sacrifice her happiness for Olivia. Her fiancé remained silent. He didn't defend her. He didn't stop her. He simply looked away. Something inside Amelia finally broke. Without another word, she turned and ran. She fled the chapel barefoot, still wearing her wedding dress as thunder echoed overhead. Rain drenched her within seconds. She ran until her lungs burned, until tears mixed with rain, until she collapsed beneath the branches of a familiar oak tree. She looked toward the sky. "I have no one left." A quiet voice answered behind her. "That's not true." She slowly turned. Standing beneath a black umbrella was the man she thought had betrayed her. Except something was different. His expression held nothing but concern. His suit wasn't the same. There was no wedding ring in his pocket, no guilt in his eyes, only confusion and heartbreaking recognition. His eyes widened. Millie? Only one person had ever called her that. Only one. He slowly reached into his wallet. Inside, carefully protected for 20 years, rested a faded little dandelion ring. "I've been looking for you." Ever since we were children. Amelia stared at the faded dandelion ring resting in Logan's palm. 20 years. He'd carried it for 20 years. The rain continued to fall around them, but neither of them noticed anymore. Her lips trembled. "Logan." He smiled softly, though tears were gathering in his own eyes. "I finally found you." The words broke something inside her. She staggered forward before collapsing against his chest. All of the hurt she had buried for years came rushing to the surface. She cried until she could barely breathe. Not the quiet tears she'd learned to hide from her parents, not the silent tears she'd shed alone in bed after another birthday spent celebrating Olivia instead of herself. These were ugly, desperate sobs, the kind that came from someone who had spent a lifetime convincing herself she wasn't allowed to fall apart. Logan wrapped his arms around her without saying a word. He simply held her. For the first time in Amelia's life, someone stayed. Logan brought Amelia to the small countryside home where his grandparents still lived. The old couple opened the door. For a moment, they simply stared. Then Logan's grandmother gasped. "Is that the little girl from the oak tree?" Amelia managed a weak smile. Mrs. Carter rushed forward and hugged her tightly. "Oh, sweetheart, we wondered where you disappeared to." No questions, no judgment, just warmth. It was so unfamiliar that Amelia nearly started crying again. Logan's grandfather quietly fetched towels while his grandmother insisted Amelia change into dry clothes before she caught cold. Within minutes, she was sitting beside a crackling fireplace, wearing one of Mrs. Carter's oversized sweaters, while a mug of hot chocolate warmed her hands. The old woman gently brushed damp hair away from Amelia's face. "You've gotten so thin." "When was the last time someone cooked for you?" Amelia opened her mouth to answer. Nothing came out. She honestly couldn't remember. Mrs. Carter smiled sadly. Then tonight, "You don't lift a finger." As dinner filled the table, Amelia instinctively stood. "I can help serve." 3 voices answered at once. "No." She blinked. "I don't mind." Logan chuckled. "We know." "That's exactly why you're sitting down." His grandfather nodded. "Guests don't work." Mrs. Carter corrected him. "Family doesn't either." The single sentence hit Amelia harder than anything that had happened at the wedding. Family. No one had called her that in years. She lowered her head as silent tears slipped onto the table. The following morning, Amelia woke before sunrise. Habit. She quietly began washing dishes left from the night before. A hand gently stopped her. Logan stood beside her. "You don't have to earn your place here." She looked away. "I've always had to." "Not anymore." She laughed bitterly. "You make it sound easy." "It isn't." He leaned against the counter. "When I was little, I thought I was disposable too." She looked up. "My parents had twins. They only wanted one. They never said those words. They didn't have to. They left me with my grandparents. Every birthday I waited. They never came. I wondered what was wrong with me." Amelia whispered, "What changed?" My grandmother. He smiled. She told me something I'll never forget. He looked directly into Amelia's eyes. People who cannot see your value don't decide your value. They only reveal how little they can see. For the first time, Amelia allowed herself to believe those words. Maybe, just maybe, she wasn't the problem. Over the next several weeks, Logan helped Amelia put her life back together, not by fixing it for her, by reminding her she was capable. They walked beneath the oak tree every evening, cooked together, laughed together. When nightmares woke her in the middle of the night, Logan quietly made tea and sat beside her until sunrise, never asking questions, never pushing, just staying. One afternoon, he found her staring into a mirror. "I don't know who I am anymore." Logan walked over. "I do." She looked at him. "You're brilliant. You graduated at the top of your class. You built award-winning buildings before turning 30. You remember everyone's birthdays. You stop for injured animals. You apologize when someone else bumps into you. You cry during children's movies. You always choose everyone else before yourself." He gently took her hands. "I don't see someone disposable. I see the strongest woman I've ever met." Her eyes overflowed again. This time, the tears weren't from pain. They were from finally being seen. 3 weeks after the wedding disaster, Amelia's phone finally came alive. Hundreds of missed calls, thousands of messages, news articles, social media posts. Her parents had told everyone she abandoned her fiancé at the altar because she had cold feet. Olivia claimed Amelia had always been jealous of her. Lucas had remained completely silent. Logan read the headlines before setting the phone down. So, they're protecting themselves. Amelia nodded quietly. "I expected as much." He looked at her. "Do you want revenge?" She thought about it for a long time. "I want them to know that they were wrong. I don't want them hurt. I just want them to understand they threw me away." Logan smiled. "Good. Because the best revenge isn't destroying people. It's living well enough that they finally realize what they lost." She smiled faintly. "I think I like your revenge better." The following week, Logan revealed a secret he had been keeping. "My grandparents own Carter Holdings." Amelia blinked. "The Carter Holdings? The international architecture and development company worth billions." He nodded. "My parents inherited the family name. My grandparents inherited the family's respect. When they abandoned me, my grandparents rewrote everything. They made me their heir." Amelia stared at him. You're the CEO?" He laughed. "I've been trying to tell you." She punched his shoulder. "You let me think you were just helping around the farm." "I do help around the farm." He grinned. "I just happen to run a company on weekdays." She couldn't help laughing. It felt wonderful. The revenge plan wasn't built on lies. It was built on truth. Logan ordered a complete review of every company connected to Amelia's family. What they discovered shocked even her. Her father had been taking credit for Amelia's architectural designs for years. Projects she created, awards she earned, ideas she developed. He had quietly submitted them under the family company name while convincing Amelia that family succeeds together. Meanwhile, Olivia had been listed as lead designer despite contributing almost nothing. Logan looked across the conference table. "They didn't just steal your childhood. They stole your career." Amelia slowly closed the folder. "No more." Her voice was calm, but for the first time in her life, it carried strength. "No more sacrificing." Logan smiled proudly. "So, let's show the world exactly who Amelia Bennett really is." And together, beneath the same oak tree where 2 forgotten children had once promised each other forever, they began planning not how to ruin the people who had treated them as disposable, but how to build lives so extraordinary that those people would never again be able to pretend they had never mattered. For the first time in her life, Amelia wasn't working to earn someone else's approval. She was working for herself. Over the following month, Logan quietly assembled a team of accountants, attorneys, architects, and investigators from Carter Holdings. Amelia insisted they remain completely honest. No fake evidence, she said firmly. No tricks. No lies. Logan smiled proudly. I wouldn't have agreed to anything else. If we're going to expose them, we'll only use the truth. The truth, it turned out, was devastating enough. Boxes of old project files arrived from storage, archived emails, original blueprints, digital timestamps. Even Amelia's college professors still had copies of the competition entries she had submitted years earlier. One architect looked up from a stack of drawings. Every one of these concepts matches the buildings Bennett Development claims Olivia designed. Another investigator nodded. The original digital files all belong to Amelia. A third added, her father simply changed the title pages before submitting them. Amelia stared silently at the evidence spread across the conference table. She hadn't realized how much had been taken from her. There were office towers she had designed, luxury hotels, apartment complexes, even an award-winning children's hospital. Every one of them carried someone else's name. Logan gently squeezed her hand. They stole years of your life. She took a slow breath. They'll never steal another day. Across town. Things were falling apart inside the Bennett household. The wedding scandal had refused to disappear. People had begun asking uncomfortable questions. Why had Amelia disappeared? Why hadn't the groom tried to stop her? Why were there rumors involving Olivia? Olivia paced furiously through the living room. This is her fault. If she'd just come back, everyone would stop talking. Her mother nodded immediately. I know, sweetheart. She's always been dramatic. Mr. Bennett rubbed his temples. We just need her to apologize publicly. Olivia blinked. Apologize? Yes. If she says she misunderstood everything, our reputation will recover. None of them asked whether Amelia was safe. None of them wondered if she had eaten or where she had spent the last month. To them, she remained useful only if she protected the family's image. Lucas wasn't sleeping. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw Amelia standing in the doorway, the bouquet falling from her hands, the devastation on her face. He had made the biggest mistake of his life. It had started months before the wedding. Olivia constantly compared herself to Amelia. She complained that Amelia was perfect, that everyone secretly preferred Amelia. Lucas never understood why she hated her sister so much. Whenever Amelia worked late, Olivia appeared. She flirted, she complained, she cried. One bad decision became another. He convinced himself it would end before the wedding. Instead, it destroyed everything. He looked down at the engagement ring still sitting on his dresser. I don't deserve forgiveness. Then something strange happened. A sharp pain shot through his head. He grabbed the edge of the sink as flashes flooded his mind. A giant oak tree, a little girl laughing, a flower ring, a pinky promise. Millie. The name escaped his lips before he realized he'd spoken. His heart began racing. Who was Millie? Why did saying her name hurt so much? Meanwhile, Logan had been keeping another secret. He wasn't waiting for revenge. He was waiting for the right opportunity. Every year, Carter Holdings hosted one of the largest architectural expos in the country. Thousands attended. Government officials, developers, investors, international media. The keynote speaker had suddenly canceled. Logan walked into Amelia's office carrying a folder. I have a replacement. She looked up. Who? You. Her eyes widened. Absolutely not. You've spent years hiding behind other people's names. It's time the world saw yours. I can't. You can. What if I fail? He smiled softly. You've already survived far worse than public speaking. She laughed nervously. I haven't spoken in front of thousands of people." "You spoke in front of the people who broke your heart. This will be easy compared to that." She rolled her eyes. "That wasn't encouraging." "It wasn't supposed to be. It was honest." After a long silence, she slowly nodded. "Okay." News of the Carter Holdings Expo spread quickly. One announcement stunned the entire architectural industry. Keynote speaker, Amelia Bennett. The Bennett family stared at the invitation in disbelief. Olivia frowned. Why would Carter Holdings invite her? Mr. Bennett immediately stood. "We're going." His wife nodded. "This is perfect. We'll convince her to come home." Olivia smiled smugly. "She always comes home." She was wrong. Very wrong. The morning of the expo arrived. Logan adjusted Amelia's microphone. "You nervous?" She laughed. "I'm pretty sure I'm going to throw up." "That's normal. You don't look nervous." "I gave my nervousness to you." She smacked his arm. "How generous." He smiled. Then his expression softened. "There's something else." "What?" He reached into his jacket. Carefully unfolding a small cloth, he revealed the faded dandelion ring. "I carried this because I thought one day I'd find you." He knelt before her, not with a diamond, not yet, just the tiny flower ring. The first promise was made by 2 children. He smiled. "I think we're old enough to make a new one." Tears immediately filled Amelia's eyes. Logan continued, "I don't want you to answer today. I only want you to know. Whether you choose me tomorrow or 10 years from now, I'll never stop choosing you." Amelia knelt beside him until they were eye level. Then she gently kissed his forehead. "You already have." His eyebrows lifted. "My answer? I've already chosen you." Logan laughed through misty eyes before pulling her into a gentle embrace. Outside the auditorium doors, thousands of guests were taking their seats. Among them, the Bennett family. Lucas, business executives, journalists, and people whose lives were about to change forever. None of them knew that the woman they believed had run away in shame was about to walk onto that stage and reveal a truth that would bring powerful people to their knees, not through revenge, but through undeniable proof. As Amelia took a deep breath and stepped toward the stage entrance, Logan quietly whispered the same words he had spoken beneath the oak tree 20 years earlier. "I promised." She smiled without looking back. "I know." The lights dimmed. The announcer called her name. And the next chapter of both their lives began. The applause that welcomed Amelia Bennett onto the stage was polite, respectful, professional. No one in the audience realized they were about to witness the downfall of one of the city's most respected families. Amelia stepped to the podium. The bright stage lights made it impossible to see every face in the crowd, but she could still make out the front rows. Her father, her mother, Olivia, Lucas. All 4 stared back at her with expressions that ranged from confusion to irritation. Only Logan, standing just off stage, smiled. He gave her a small nod, the same reassuring nod he had given her every morning before she left for school as children. "You can do this." She took a deep breath. "My name is Amelia Bennett. For years, I believed I had nothing worth saying. My work spoke for other people. My sacrifices benefited other people. My voice was always the one expected to remain quiet." She paused. "But today, I'm finally speaking for myself." The room fell silent. "I was invited here to discuss architecture. So that's exactly what I'm going to do." The massive screen behind her illuminated with the blueprint of one of the city's most recognizable buildings. The audience immediately recognized it, the Riverside Medical Pavilion. It had won multiple international design awards. Everyone knew it had been designed by Bennett Development, specifically by Olivia Bennett. Amelia smiled gently. "This is the first building I ever designed." The room erupted into whispers. Her father straightened in his seat. Olivia's confident smile disappeared. Amelia clicked the remote again. The next slide appeared. A scanned notebook. Every page was filled with pencil sketches, dates, measurements, calculations. Each page was signed, Amelia Bennett. The original concept was drawn when I was 23. The digital files were created 6 months later. The copyright registration is in my name. A lawyer from Carter Holdings stood near the stage. The documentation has already been submitted to the Architectural Licensing Board. Copies have also been provided to every member of the press. The whispers became louder. Amelia continued. Then came another building, and another, then another. Luxury hotels, office towers as museums, residential communities. The audience slowly realized what was happening. Nearly every project that had made Bennett Development famous had originated with Amelia. Every original file, every handwritten sketch, every digital timestamp, every witness, everything pointed to one truth. She had built her family's empire, and they had erased her name. A reporter stood. "Miss Bennett, are you accusing your family of intellectual property theft?" Amelia answered calmly. "I'm not accusing anyone. I'm presenting documented facts." Another reporter raised her hand. "Did your sister contribute to any of these projects?" Amelia hesitated, then answered honestly. She attended a few meetings. Nothing more, no insults and no bitterness, just truth. Somehow, that hurt far more. Her father suddenly stood. "This is ridiculous. She's twisting everything." Logan calmly walked onto the stage. His presence immediately quieted the room. "As CEO of Carter Holdings, I'd like to clarify something." He nodded toward the enormous screen. "Our legal team spent 6 weeks verifying every document. We searched for evidence proving Amelia was mistaken. We found none." He looked directly at Mr. Bennett. "We did, however, find overwhelming evidence proving she was right." Silence. Mr. Bennett's face drained of color. Logan continued. "Carter Holdings has officially acquired a controlling interest in Bennett Development." The room exploded. "What? How? When?" Mr. Bennett's knees nearly buckled. You can't." Logan met his eyes. "The negotiations began 3 months ago. Your creditors were eager to sell." Mr. Bennett realized something horrifying. The wedding, the scandal, the falling stock price, the investigations, everything had caused investors to abandon the company. He had been too busy protecting appearances to notice his business collapsing around him. Logan's expression remained calm. "As of this morning, you no longer own Bennett Development." Gasps echoed throughout the auditorium. "But unlike you, I'm not interested in taking credit for someone else's work." He turned toward Amelia. "Effective immediately. I'd like everyone to meet the new CEO." The audience erupted into applause. Real applause. Not polite, not forced. People stood. One after another. Architects, engineers, developers, journalists. Thousands of strangers rose to their feet. For Amelia, she stood frozen, unable to process what was happening. No one had ever stood for her before. Her eyes filled with tears. Logan leaned toward the microphone. "Every building deserves a strong foundation. So does every person. It is my honor to return this company to the woman who built it." The standing ovation lasted nearly 2 minutes. Amelia wiped away tears before finally speaking. She laughed through the emotion. "I spent my whole life believing I had to earn love. I thought if I worked harder, cleaned more, gave more, asked for less, someone would finally choose me." She looked toward her parents. "I was wrong." Then toward Logan. "The right people choose you from the beginning." Her mother's eyes welled with tears. She stood. "Amelia, please, we made mistakes." Amelia looked at her for a long moment. Mistakes. You forgot my birthdays. You gave away my awards. You called my sister your miracle. And called me useful. Her mother began crying. I didn't mean, you watched another woman kiss my fiancé and asked if she was okay before you even looked at me. The room was so quiet that no one dared breathe. Amelia's father lowered his head for the first time in decades. He had no excuse. Olivia suddenly stepped forward. This is all because you're jealous. You always wanted my life. Amelia simply smiled. No, I wanted my family. Olivia froze. I would have gladly celebrated your happiness if you'd ever wanted mine. Those words struck harder than any accusation ever could. Lucas slowly walked toward the stage. His hands trembled. He stopped several feet away. I'm sorry. Amelia looked at him. He swallowed hard. I don't expect forgiveness. I don't even deserve a conversation. But he reached into his pocket. Inside rested a tiny dried flower. His voice shook. I've started remembering. Amelia's eyes widened. The oak tree, the promise, the nickname, Millie. Tears streamed down Lucas's face. I remembered the day after the wedding. I remembered everything I forgot. He looked toward Logan, and I remembered my brother. Logan slowly turned. The two identical men stood facing one another for the first time in over 20 years. Neither spoke, neither moved. Then Lucas whispered, I'm sorry. Huh? They took you away. Logan smiled sadly. I know. Lucas stepped closer. I looked for memories and found a brother instead. Without another word, the twins embraced. The audience quietly applauded, not because a company had changed hands, not because a scandal had been exposed, but because two little boys who had been separated by adults' selfish decisions had finally found each other again. Amelia watched with tears in her eyes. She realized something then. Revenge had never been about making the people who hurt her suffer. It was about reclaiming everything they had convinced her she didn't deserve. Her name, her future, her family, and the love of the boy who had never broken his promise. Logan walked back toward her. Without caring that thousands of people were watching, he reached for her hand. This time, she didn't hesitate. She intertwined their fingers. And together, they walked off the stage, not as two forgotten children anymore, but as two people who had finally been chosen. Neither of them noticed the old groundskeeper standing near the back of the auditorium. He smiled quietly to himself. Years ago, he had watched two lonely children make a promise beneath an oak tree. Some promises, he thought, just take a little longer to bloom. And that's where we'll leave Amelia and Logan's story, for now. Do you think Amelia finally found the happiness she always deserved? And what happens next now that the twins have reunited and the truth is finally out? If you'd like to see part 2, where Amelia and Logan build their new life together, Lucas searches for redemption, and the families face the consequences of their choices, let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next chapter. I read every comment and I'd love to hear what you think. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the